Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your fourth stimulus package and news update. We have a lot of news to get into in today's video, but first, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so even though Democrats hope to be able to hold a vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill today, progressive Democrats still refuse to approve of it. Yesterday, when Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was asked if she would approve the infrastructure vote if it came to a vote today, she said, ethically, she's not sure how she can vote to increase U.S. climate emissions. And not only is she and other progressive Democrats requiring a framework on the Build Back Better plan, but they also want the detailed text. Take a listen.
Is not sufficient for you?
No, I mean, we've had frameworks for 6 months, and we've seen how much those frameworks have changed, been taken back, etc. We need text. We need text. I think we can talk a little bit. There's flexibility around process, but we need confirmed text.
So if this comes to the floor tomorrow, infrastructure bill, you're no.
I don't see how ethically I can vote to increase U.S. climate emissions.
What if the president...
So framework is not...
Of course, before they can even get the text done, or even the framework, they'll first need to reach an agreement on the overall package. This means Senators Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, and the progressive Democrats will need to come to some sort of a compromise. And despite the two sides still being pretty far apart on how much should be spent in the bill, what should be in it, and how it should even be funded, Manchin remains optimistic that they can reach an agreement.
Senator, you met at the White House. You met at the White House last night. Yeah. You talked to the president. After your discussion with him, how realistic is it that the deal can be reached imminently, even as early as today, including on a billionaire's tax?
Well, which one you want to speak about first, the taxes or?
Well, both overall and the billionaire's
overall,
tax.
absolutely it can be. When I say a deal, we need to move forward. The president has made that very clear. He wants to move forward, and we owe it to the president to move forward. Take a vote on this, on the infrastructure bill. It's the only thing we have is bipartisan. Take a vote on that because the president is doing everything. He's working 24/7. I guarantee you, I've been with him most 24/7. And he's working as hard as he possibly can to get a good, solid deal. And, he believes 100% of nothing is nothing. And he understands that. He's been here 36 years. He understands how the Senate works. So we had very good, very direct, very frank, very honest conversations. On the taxes, people are talking about tax this and tax that, we'll change this, and wealth tax. First of all, I said this. Everybody in this country that has been blessed and prospered should pay a patriotic tax. If you're to the point to where you're able to use all of the tax forms, if you can, to your advantage, and you end up with a zero tax liability, but have had a very, very good life, and you've had a lot of opportunities, there should be a 15% patriotic tax. That's me speaking. I'm not speaking for anybody else. But we've said, and we've all agreed on a 15% corporate tax. Well, people in the stratosphere, rather than trying to penalize them, we ought to be pleased that this country is able to produce the wealth. But with that, there's a patriotic duty that you should be paying something to this great country to give you the protection and the support and the opportunities. That's called a patriot. A patriotic tax would be nothing that we should be scorned about. It doesn't harm anybody.
So are you supportive of the billionaire's tax, or are you supporting the billionaire's tax?
I'm supporting basically that everyone should pay their fair share, and I've just tried to think of it. I don't like it. I don't like the connotation that we're targeting different people. There's people that basically, they've contributed to society, they've created a lot of jobs and invested a lot of money and give a lot to philanthropic pursuits, but it's time that we all pull together and row together, if you will.
Manchin says they need to move forward, but how can they move forward when the two sides are still so far apart? For one, Manchin is against measures progressives want to include in the Build Back Better plan, such as 4 weeks of paid family leave in addition to Medicare expansion.
Senator Sanders has said that Medicare expansion is not going to come out of this bill. Do you still disagree with that? Okay.
Let me just say about the expansions, and we're negotiating and talking about that. I am truly, absolutely concerned about the deficit of our country at almost $29 trillion. I'm concerned about the insolvency of the trust funds. In good conscience, I have a hard time increasing basically benefits, which all of us can agree that, I'd love to have this, love to have that, when you can't even take care of what you have. So that's the difference, and that's the discussions we're having. Those are honest, open discussions. And how am I going to tell people in West Virginia that Medicare and Social Security is your lifeline, and you're going to be in trouble by 2026. They've all heard that. What's that mean to me? Am I going to pay more, or am I going to be cut back on my services I'm getting? But yet we're adding more to it. That's the problem. And that's basically a good dialogue that we're having. So it's honest, open discussion.
Secondly, Manchin is also against the billionaire tax plan that would tax billionaires on unrealized gains on tradable assets, such as stocks. So let's say that Elon Musk purchased a stock for $100 and at the end of the year it was worth $200. Elon Musk, being a billionaire, would owe taxes on the $100 in gains even though he never sold the stock and capitalized on the gains. Right now, for you and me, we are only taxed when we sell our stock, but in this plan, billionaires would be taxed even before they go to sell. However, as I just mentioned, Joe Manchin is opposed to this idea, which means they will need to figure out another way to fund the bill. Still, Manchin and Sinema both met with White House officials yesterday, where they hope to get just a tad bit closer to an agreement. And tomorrow, Joe Biden heads to Europe for the climate summit, and even though Democrats hope to have a deal done by then, the House Rules Committee will still hold a hearing on the package. Now, typically, the Rules Committee will mark up legislation as the last step before it's even voted on, so this hearing is indeed a bit of a rare event. In a Dear Colleagues Nancy Pelosi sent out yesterday, she wrote, "Today, we move closer to passing the historic, transformative Build Back Better Act. As we have insisted, we are close to agreement on the priorities and the top line of the legislation, which can and must pass the House and Senate. At the same time, we are facing a crucial deadline for the bipartisan infrastructure framework to pass. To do so, we must have trust and confidence in an agreement for the Build Back Better Act." So, trust and confidence are the two words that she's trying to project, which are words that she'll definitely need if she expects progressives and Manchin to ever work out an agreement. Speaking of agreements, well, more so disagreements, even though Joe Manchin also said he didn't like the idea of the IRS spying on American bank accounts, the Biden administration is still working to include it in their Build Back Better plan. Instead of focusing on middle-class citizens, they hope to target taxpayers who are making over $400,000 per year. Before, it was stated that any accounts with more than $600 in deposits and withdrawals could have their accounts looked at, and later on, that was changed to $10,000. Now, we already know Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema have some opposing views with progressive Democrats. With Republicans, however, the differences are night and day. Here is Representative Elise Stefanik giving her thoughts on the Build Back Better plan.
So what are your takeaways on all of this? Let's go through some of the new developments that we know this morning, and that is that Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin apparently have agreed to go along with a 15% minimum tax. Joe Manchin also said that he told President Biden his bank surveillance idea is a no-go. And then, of course, we've got this billionaire's tax, all of which does not appear to be enough to pay for all of this spending that they want to do on climate and social programs. Your take?
Well, first of all, the American people should know that what the Democrats are discussing is the largest tax increase in our nation's history, but it's also the largest spending bill in our nation's history. This is over $5 trillion, and that's taxpayer dollars. So even when President Joe Biden says it costs nothing, it costs the American people over trillions of dollars, which we do not have. We are already facing historic levels of debt and deficit under this administration. But the policies are also far left socialist policies that this bill is absolutely riddled with. You talked about the IRS agents. The Democrats want to pass an army of IRS agents, doubling the number of people who work for the IRS who will be able to spy on every working American's bank account. The tax increases would be a tax on innovation, on success, and would make us less competitive around the world, particularly challenging when we see a rising China. So this is a bad deal. It's full of socialist policies. The devil is always in the details, Maria, though, so over the next couple of days, we will see if many of the Democrats break their promises to the American people and go along with this far-left socialist package as Joe Biden just does what the progressives want.
Remember, Democrats will need to raise the debt ceiling once again before December 3rd, and in order to do that, more than likely, they will need to do it through another reconciliation package. Last time around, the two sides played chicken and they barely extended government funding. Being that Democrats are going with the do-it-alone approach, Republicans, in return, are forcing the Democrats to raise the debt limit by themselves as well. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive a couple free stocks from Webull, make sure to quickly claim them by clicking my link in the description box below. To receive the first stock, you will need to fully open an account. Then to receive the second free stock, which will be valued up to $2,000, you'll need to make a qualifying deposit of at least $5. And even if you aren't all that interested in investing or continuing to invest at this point in time, you can always sell the free stocks that you receive and transfer that money, however much they're worth, right back to your bank account. So free stocks or free money is completely up to you. So once again, I hope everyone has a great and safe rest of their day. If you enjoyed the content in today's video and you did find it helpful, I would greatly appreciate if you could quickly give it a like. That does help out with the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you, as always, in the next video.